Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So as you might know, a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, time is really flying, I bought the Squale Tropic GMT. And Squale is a brand that was actually, I was aware, I didn't know Squale existed until I saw a lot of watch videos on the Urban Gentry channel. So thank you very much, Tristiano, for opening up my eyes for the brand. It's a great brand. It's an Italian brand. They make Swiss-made watches, etc., etc. And I really fell for the Squale Tropic GMT. I bought that watch, I had it for a while, and then the flipper mentality set in, and I sold it because I wanted to buy other stuff. And all the time, while not having it in my possession, I actually missed it. And I missed it more and more, and then one day I decided to buy it again. And I bought it from gnomonewatches.com. They usually have a lot of watches in stock, and then when they're out of stock, they're just not available. And then you can click to get notified when they become available. And I became notified, and I bought the watch, and I got it, and I was really happy. Yeah, happy. And then what happened? Last year, 2021, they released a new model. The one gripe that I have with the Tropic GMT 42 millimeters is that it is 42 millimeters. It's a little, I mean, if you have a big wrist, I have 20 centimeter wrist, it doesn't look bad, it looks perfect, and it feels good. It's a little heavy, but it feels really good. But if you're like me, and if you prefer 40 millimeter watches, if that's your sweet spot, then it gets to feel a little bit clunky. So they released a new version, 40 millimeters, and I just died a little bit inside because I was just, oh my god, now I have to buy that one because that's basically better because it's 40, this is 42. The one gripe I have with this one is that it's a little too big. That's the one I want. Now I have to sell this one at a loss and buy that one at full price, and I was a little bummed out. But then I have great friends, and a friend of mine sent me his 40 millimeter version 1 to try out and to compare with the 42, head-to-head battle, 1 against 1, a versus match, a real Street Fighter match, and that's what I'm gonna do in this video. They're gonna go head-to-head, and I'm just happy to say that, no, I'm gonna save that for the end of the video, but if you wanna see the comparison, just let's head to the table and see the comparison. Big brother and little brother duking it out. Let's go. But before we do the ultimate comparison, we have to unbox this thing. I already did that once, so I'm gonna do it again a little quickly here. You see the cardboard box, and as you can see, we have the little travel pouch inside of it. Put the cardboard box away. There's the travel pouch, nice little Squale logo with the Squale shark there. Warranty card on the left side, instructions manuals right there, and then we have the watch over here. There it is. I'm just gonna take it off this little thing, and there we have the Squale Tropic GMT 40 millimeters. Looking good, looking as good as it looked when I unboxed it the first time. And I'm actually going to give you a little rundown of the specifications on this watch before we begin the ultimate comparison. Inside of it, we have a ETA 2893-2 or a Sellita SW 330-1. We have a diameter on this version, 40 millimeters. We have a thickness of 12.5 millimeters. We have a lug width of 20 millimeters. We have a lug to lug of 47 millimeters. And as you can see, female end links. So it's a true 47. Nothing more protruding there. Nice curvature on those lugs. 316L stainless steel all around. Ceramic bezel. It's actually a 90 click ceramic bezel. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. But on the Nomon web page, it says that it's 120 clicks, but it isn't. And I've contacted them about that, and the answer was that Squale actually themselves provide the information on the Nomon website. But just a little heads up, it's a 90 click bezel. I've counted it several times, and I'm going to show you the comparison to the 120 click on the old 42 millimeter version. 90 clicks, not 120 as it says on the websites. We have a sapphire glass. It's actually a flat sapphire, and we have some really nicely applied AR coating on the inside. And we have a water resistance of 300 meters on this new version. As you can see, the case polished on the sides, really nice polishing there, as if I can tell, but really nice polishing, really nice curvature on those end links. As I said, we have a signed crown with the Van Buren logo right there. The bezel is really easy to grip, easy to spin. And yeah, as I said, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the bezel later because I have some things to say about it. The bracelet, it's a mix of brushing and polishing. It's a jubilee bracelet, as you can see, beautiful, like those thick little links. And it's actually, as you would have expect from Squale, it's a screwed links bracelet. We have the clasp here with a security lock with the Van Buren logo right there. If you open it up, you can see that it's milled clasp, not a pressed cheap clasp here. Milled clasp. We have the Squale writing inside there, Squale stainless. We have 4 points of micro adjustments, and we actually have a diver's extension. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as well. So, case back, there we have it. Squale 1545, Swiss made, all stainless steel, water resistant, 300 meters. Yeah, you can easily remove the bracelet right there. Looking good. The crown is really nice to handle. It's big. The crown guards are actually really small. This is a big crown. You can pull it out easily. It's buttery smooth. You can see a red little gasket in there for the water resistance, I guess. Buttery smooth to operate. Perfect in every way. The dial, no applied logo, no applied hour markers, as you can see. We have Squale written beneath the 12, date window at 3 o'clock with a little frame, GMT, 30 ATM, and Swiss made. That's what the new version looks like. And what are we comparing it to? Yeah, you know what we're comparing it to because I've said it a bunch of times, and it's actually, I guess it's the title of the video as well. This is the old version, the big brother. Yep, Big Daddy O, 42 millimeters Squale Tropic GMT. This is the watch that I bought twice. Bought it once, sold it, regretted it, and bought it once again. As you can see, when we take a look at them, just comparing them side to side like this, this is looks like a behemoth of a watch. It looks like this watch, but on steroids, as my friend put it. But we have some differences with the watches that actually are really important to point out, and that actually makes me feel that neither of them is the perfect watch. The perfect watch would actually be a combination of the two. So this watch, the original one, the 42 millimeter one, I think there actually is a third version. It's the big one without the Cyclops. I've seen that somewhere, but I'm not really sure about it. But this is the big boy. It's the same movement as we had on the little brother, and these are the actual specifics that matter, that are different. The diameter is 42 millimeters instead of 40 on that one. The thickness is 13 millimeters instead of 12.5 on the little brother, so it's a little bit thicker as well. The lug to lug, here we have male end links. As you can see, they protrude a little bit. So the lug to lug with those male end links is actually 54 millimeters, and I think it's without them it's 52 if you should measure from the lugs, but since those male end links actually matter, 54 millimeters. It sounds huge. I don't think it is, at least not on my 20 centimeter wrist, and I've seen a lot of people with smaller wrist wear this watch perfectly fine, but it's something to point out. And the lug width on this one is actually the little awkward number of 21 millimeters. I know this watch got a lot of flack when it was released because most straps and leathers and NATOs and stuff, they're either 20 millimeters or 22 millimeters. This being 21 in between is it's a difficult size, but it is what it is. And the ceramic bezel on this one actually has 120 clicks. Proper 120 clicks. But we're gonna talk about the bezel when we come to the pros and cons about the watches. As you can see, the dial looks the same. We have no applied hour markers. It's all printed. We have a date window at the 3 o'clock, but we have a Cyclops, an excellent Cyclops. And then we have Squale just beneath the 12 o'clock, GMT 30 Atmos Swiss made. As you can see, the bezel insert looks a little different as well. We have an all brushed oyster style bracelet here. All brushed in the front. We have some polishing on the sides. Same polishing on the watch house. Same curvature on the lugs. Same logo on the crown. It's all the same design-wise. But it's an oyster bracelet. It's all polished except for the sides as well. Screwed links on this one as well. And then we come to the clasp. As you can see, on the other one, it said Squale there, stainless steel. This is just stainless steel. We have a 3-fold clasp with a lock. That's the Squale logo, and there's one of the differences between these two watches. On this clasp, we have the Squale logo with the shark on the old version, and on this clasp, we have the Van Buren logo on the lock itself. I would have loved to see a combination of these two, actually having that Van Buren logo on the lock as well. And one more thing, as you can see, the hinges that are holding this lock, as we're gonna open it up, those hinges right there, and there, are actually a little bit thinner than the hinges on this new lock. As you can see, this is a little thicker metal, and this is a little bit thinner. Yeah. There we go. And the case back on the old one looks like this. Turn it around. 1545 Squale. And you can see it's a little bit different. We have some more details on the case back here. We have a wave pattern or something like that. There we have it. Some kind of a pattern on the case back. This is just polished around, and we have some brushing in the middle. Water resistant 30 ATM Y1545. Big brother, little brother. Okay, and this watch, when this watch was released, they actually some people said that they were going to discontinue the Big Brother, so the prices skyrocketed. People were trying to sell these for double the price, even triple the price on eBay. And then on the official Squale Instagram, someone asked about the old version, and Squale said that or was it on the Nomon Watches Instagram? No, nonetheless, they said that the Big Brother version would still be available on the webpage, so they were going to sell both of them simultaneously. But now it's not. Now it's gone. You can't find it on nomonwatches.com. You can only find the new version. So I really don't know if it is discontinued or if it isn't. So I can't say anything about that. So let's dive straight into the differences of these two watches. I told you about the specification differences and the sizing differences and everything. But let's go into the pros and cons on both of the watches. Let's begin with the new version. The 40 millimeter little brother. One of the pros that is actually better on this watch and that I would actually like to just take from it and implement on the Big Brother is the size. The 40 millimeter size is actually more wearable than the 42. Even if the 42 is perfectly comfortable on my 20 centimeter wrist, it's just something with the 40 millimeter. As if you've been following my channel for a while, I've talked about that I was a big watch guy. I mean, I liked big watches before. I was a 44 millimeters. I couldn't go below 43 millimeters. But times have changed. I have changed. Now 40 millimeters is the sweet spot for me. I'm really liking this size, and it's a little more wearable than the actual 42 millimeters. This is how this looks on my wrist. 40 millimeters, little brother. And I'm actually going to show you how the 42 millimeters look on my wrist. Looks, not look. And this is how the 42 millimeter looks on my wrist. I'm pulling it off. I'm thinking, because when you talk about lug, the distance between the lugs and the wrist size, people usually say that the lugs should not protrude over the wrist. And even if this watch has male end links, even those do not protrude over my wrist. So I think I'm pulling this one off as well. But the 40 millimeter little brother is actually more comfortable. So that's pro number one for the little brother. It's more wearable and it's more comfortable. Yep, there we go. And the pro number two for the little brother version is the female end links. I mean, if the 42 millimeter had female end links, it would have been a little more wearable. And sure, you can change the bracelet, but we're talking about the watches as they come in the standard configuration. Female end links, making the lugs end where they actually end, is a really big pro on this watch, and it makes it feel as nice on your wrist and as wearable as it is because of those female end links. And I hate to say it, but this is just my personal opinion. I mean, you don't have to take anything away from this video. It's just one guy saying his personal opinion. That's the end of the pros for the little brother. Because when this watch was announced and released, my heart just stopped. I think it was 6 months before bought this again, and then they released a 40 millimeter version, and I thought, oh my god, did I make a mistake buying this one, because I really love the 40 millimeter size? But the conclusion of this video is actually gonna be that no, I'm still liking this more, and the pros with this watch actually end there. I'm gonna talk about the pros of the Big Brother here before we go on with the cons. So the pros on the Big Brother that I wish that they would have kept on the little brother is, number one, the Cyclops. This is a really subjective opinion, and I have friends that really hate Cyclops. My wife doesn't like the look of Cyclopses whatsoever, but I'm a Cyclops guy. I'm really liking the Cyclopses, and the Cyclops on this 42 millimeter Big Brother, I mean, the quality of the Squale Cyclops is outstanding. The only watch I've ever had that has a better Cyclops than Squale is actually my Rolex GMT Master 2. It's a big magnification. You can see it from all angles. We don't have any distortion whatsoever. It's perfectly applied. I mean, it's just perfect. Cyclops is pro number one. Pro number two is actually the Rehot. And I don't know if all of you know what a Rehot is, and I didn't know it last year. I didn't know it. But you see as you can see, we have the sapphire glass, and then we have the dial, and then between the sapphire glass and the dial, we have this metal Rehot that goes around it. And on the little brother, that Rehot is actually thicker. I have no way of measuring it. I'm just by the eye. It's thicker, making the distance from the sapphire glass to the actual dial being deeper. And maybe you like that deeper look of the dial, but I really prefer the thinner Rehot on the Big Brother, making the dial pop even more because it comes closer to the sapphire glass and it looks like you're directly inside of the watch, instead of this look giving you some more depth, but it doesn't hit you in the face as much as this dial. It's also a personal opinion. This video is all subjective, really. But I really prefer this one, so I'm giving this Rehot a pro. One of the pros. And now, we're going to talk about the big boy here. But before we do that, I'm going to give you the audio sample, and then we're going to talk about the bezels. So, as you might have heard, 120 clicks versus 90 clicks. And with choosing between these two, there's really no contest. I love the 120 clicks on the Big Brother here. It's solid, it's perfectly aligned, it's audible, you can hear the clicks, no backplay whatsoever, and it feels luxurious, it feels perfectly done. The 90 click bezel, I'm sorry, man, it feels a little sloppy. It feels like a cheaper version of this one. I don't know why they did it 90 clicks actually, but it is, and it is what it is. But one other difference, I almost forgot to mention this, the bezel here is bidirectional, which means you can turn it both ways, both left and right. And on the Big Brother, it's unidirectional, only goes to the left. But as I said, the bezel action on the Big Brother is a pro for me. And take a look at the bezel inserts. I mean, I don't know about you, but when you just look at it straight on, in some lights, you can barely see the numbers on the bezel insert on the Little Brother. But on the Big Brother, we have that mustardy cream color on the numbers, matching the indexes on the dial. I personally think this looks better than this. This looks, it just doesn't look. I mean, in some lights you can barely see it, so I really prefer the bezel action, the bezel insert on the Big Brother than on the Little Brother. Just personal opinion, as I've said 1,000 times in this video, but it is what it is. So let's get into the dreaded category of the cons. And maybe I've mentioned some of these because they're actually related to the pros, but we're gonna go over them once again. So I'm gonna just to give you the ultimate comparison, and if you're choosing between these two watches, so that you can make the right choice based on maybe my video helping you out. So the cons on the Big Brother is the size and the male end links, nothing more. This is, in my opinion, there's no other cons on this watch. Yeah, those are the cons on the Big Brother. Size and the male end links. Two cons. Let's take a look at the Little Brother. Okay. Cons of the Little Brother, and they're just subjective. It all depends on what you like. My cons might be your pros, and vice versa. Well, con number one, no Cyclops. I mean, when you're doing a perfect Cyclops, I mean, the Chinese homage watches that I feature on this channel all have, many of them have crooked Cyclopses, and they're not put on straight, and they're barely magnifying the date. But when you're doing a perfect Cyclops, why not keep it on the Little Brother? Or why not give us an option to choose a version with or without a Cyclops. That would have been perfect. But con number 1, they removed the Cyclops from the date. Con number 2, I talked about this, the bezel insert doesn't look as good and is not as readable as on the old version. Con number 3, the bezel feel. I don't like the 90 clicks feel on this one. I prefer the 120 clicks on the old one. Con number 4, the re-hot. I don't like how they made the dial look deeper. I'm really preferring the one on the Big Brother. Con number 5, and this is where it gets a little interesting. The clasp. When I'm gonna put in a little video here showing you this little problem. When you use this clasp and you put it in the setting on the micro adjustment farthest in, I mean taking it in all the way on the 4th micro adjustment right there, it's barely wearable. As you can see on the video footage here, I really don't know why this is the way it is, but the clasp looks horrible in this setting. So you cannot, I would never recommend anyone to set the watch in the micro adjustment the farthest in, because you can barely wear it. It looks horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And that's it. Those are the cons of the 40mm one, and those were the cons of the 42mm one. Let's head over and take a look at the Lume. Welcome to the Lume Test. And as you can clearly see, the watch on the right, the little brother, the 40mm Squale, wins straight out. It has better lume, it shines more bright, it lasts you all night, it has a fully lumed bezel insert. Between the two of these watches, the little brother wins, no contest at all. So if you're a lume junkie and you want the best lume that you can get, if you're choosing between these two, you should clearly choose the little brother. Don't get me wrong, the big brother is no slouch. It has perfectly good lume. It lasts you almost all night and you can see it from a great distance, but the little brother just simply wins. But if you're looking at these two watches as a vintage inspired release, which I see them as, the Tropic GMT, it's a little vintage inspired watch. The big brother's lume is actually more fitting to that vintage inspiration than the new little brother, because if you just take a look at these two, you see a modern watch on the right, fully loomed out with the bezel and everything. It looks like a modern watch with modern lume. And if you take a look at the big brother on the left, it looks like a regular watch with regular lume. So depending on what you like, you can choose for yourself. That's the Lume test. Back to the video. And about the weight, we have 154 grams on the little brother when it's set to my wrist size of 20 centimeters, and we have 189 grams on the big brother when it's set to my 20 centimeter wrist. So the big brother is basically 30-35 grams heavier than the smaller little brother, which goes back to my point of the little brother being more wearable and more comfortable to wear. And there you have it. I'm really happy with the version that I have. The big brother always wins. Why do I say that? Because I'm a big brother. No, it's not always like that, and as I say in all my videos, it's a personal opinion and it's very subjective. You might like watches without a Cyclops, then the little brother wins. You might like watches that are smaller, and just by definition, the little brother wins. In this case, I think that the big brother still has the upper hand and basically beats out the little brother, but there are a lot of people liking this new model, and that's not wrong. There's nothing wrong in liking something that someone else doesn't like. And I like the little brother. It's just that I'm happy with the big brother, and I'm keeping the big brother, and I can let go of that feeling that I bought the wrong watch, because I didn't. I'm really happy with the watch that I'm wearing on my wrist, and I think it's gonna stay for a little bit longer. Hope you liked the video, guys, and if you did, as always, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Those thumbs ups actually means a lot. And if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Tell me what you didn't like, and I'm gonna try to do better the next time. And if you really liked it and would like to support me and see more videos from my channel, consider subscribing. That's a nice thing to do. Subscribe to the channel. Check out my Instagram account, as you can see right here. And I hope to see you the next time. But until then, bye bye.